What's going on YouTube? This is AP iPhone Help, and today I'm going to just basically be doing a recap of the Apple event that happened yesterday on September 10th, 2013, and that was basically just when they announced the iPhone 5C and the 5S. So let's jump into that recap right now. Alright, so first of all, the first thing that they announced was iOS 7. They basically went over all the new features of it. They said, you know, iOS 7 is going to have 200 plus new features, all this stuff, but if you guys have been following me on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I have other videos. You know, I just did a video yesterday. You can click right here, somewhere around here, whatever, for the link for that video that happened yesterday, or that I put out yesterday. That is basically just an iOS 7 walkthrough. So that basically covers a lot of the new features that are in iOS 7, but there are a lot that you know, I didn't cover. So for a full list, I would just go to apple.com or whatever, and you can see all the new features there. Alright, so with announcing iOS 7, you know, telling you exactly how many features it's going to have, blah, 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 going over, you know, hyping it up a little bit more. They did give a release date, and that is next Wednesday, so that would be September 18th, is when, it's 1 week from now, is when the iOS 7 will be available for everybody. And with iOS 7 or any iOS device now, Apple also released something that kind of frustrated me a little bit, just because I already bought what they are releasing for free, and that is the iWork and iLife applications that, you know, for your iPad or iPhone or whatever, for any iOS devices. They released it for free, 100%, you know, for free. To everyone with iOS devices, and they used to be $4.99. I actually was one of those people who bought it when it first came out, you know, to check it out. So, you know, it's really cool that they are now having those applications for free for iOS devices. Alright guys, so let's get into the core of what Apple announced yesterday, and that is the new iPhones that Apple released. And like everybody, you know, thought and speculated, it's the iPhone 5C and the iPhone 5S. And they announced the iPhone 5C first, so we're going to get into all the tech specs of that right now. Alright, so for the iPhone 5C, of course, everyone knows it is color. You can see all the color choices right here. It's pink, blue, green, yellow, and white. Those are the 5 choices that Apple has, you know, allowed, or Apple has released or whatever for the iPhone 5C. And it is a hard-coated polycarbonate back, one-piece design. So it's basically just plastic on the back. Instead of the glass or like that aluminum or whatever, but there is a very aluminum or steel or something like that inside that doubles as an antenna, but it's also a very, very nice structure, and like I said, it is a one-piece design, so I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, just because I don't know how it's going to, you know, affect the repair shops. And basically I am one of those repair shops. I repair iPhones. If you haven't seen my videos, links are in the description, but anyway, I don't know how it's going to affect how you can repair it, and if you can repair it, because if it's a one-piece design, they might have to take it back and actually mold it back together. So it all depends on how, you know, how it's going to be, but we will see that when everyone starts doing the teardown process of the iPhone 5C. Alright, so like I said, the iPhone 5C is going to have the same exact tech specs as the iPhone 5, and because of this, they are discontinuing the iPhone 5, so it will no longer be for sale through apple.com. You can probably buy it, you know, on eBay or Craigslist or whatever if you still want the iPhone 5 for pretty cheap. But the iPhone 5C is definitely going to, you know, overtake that iPhone 5 position, because it has the same tech specs except a little bit better. The battery is bigger and lasts longer, and the front-facing camera has been upgraded to a 1.9 megapixel camera. So I mean, just little things, but for the price is really not bad. Which, speaking of the pricing, they are going to offer 2 models, or 2 different memory models, which is going to be the 16 gig for $99 and the 32 gig for $199, or $200 basically. And those are the prices with the 2-year contract upgrade thing with your carrier. Alright, so now let's get into the biggest announcement that they had, which was the 5S. And actually they spent a lot more time on this than I thought they were. I thought they were going to spend a lot more time on the iPhone 5C. So I was wrong in that, but the 5S is bringing so many features that, you know, they were speculated, yeah, but Apple definitely did a very, very, very good job with bringing those features into the presentation that they did yesterday. So let's get into the iPhone 5s. Alright, so first things first, the iPhone 5s is going to be available in 3 colors now instead of just 2. It is the same shape and exact same structure as the iPhone 5, but like I said, the 3 colors, so it's the white, the black and / slate or whatever, and white silver, and then the champagne or goldish color with a white glass. So I definitely like that. They are bringing more colors to the iPhone 5s, and I think that in the future, with the 5C and the 5s, they're gonna have like a 6C and 6 or whatever, and I think that they'll probably be about the same tech spec wise, but different structure to them. So we'll have to see later down the road, but that's way later, a year later. So alright, so getting into the tech specs, the Apple iPhone 5s will have the A7 chip, which is a 64-bit processor, and this is just astounding because this is the first and only cell phone that has a 64-bit chip in it. So it is just super fast. I mean, like, we haven't seen something like this in a phone ever before. So this is really, really good, and it definitely gives competitors a run for their money on their phones. So the A7 chip is 2 times faster, they're saying, than the iPhone 5s. As the iPhone 5, and it is 4 times the better graphics than the iPhone 5. So we're just going to see a much better and faster iOS and structure within the iOS. Alright, and alongside that A7 chip is the M7 chip, and that basically just monitors things like the accelerometer, the compass, all that kind of stuff, the GPS. It's gonna definitely work alongside with the A7 chip and help to produce a much better whereabouts of where your phone is, how it's acting, if you're driving, if you're stationary, if you're walking, if you're running. We're definitely going to see a lot more and better fitness apps that are going to use this definitely to their advantage. Alright, and with the iPhone 5s, we are just seeing a phenomenal battery change. With the battery for the iPhone 5s, we're going to see 3G talk time, 10 hours, 8 hours of 3G browsing, 10 hours of LTE browsing, 10 hours of Wi-Fi browsing, 10 hours of video playback, 40 hours of music playback, and 250 hours of standby time. This is just unheard of, and it is amazing. I'm really excited to actually see if the iPhone 5s is able to hold its ground with these specs, but this is what Apple is saying, and usually Apple is pretty dead on with all of those specs. So I'm really excited to have a much better and stronger battery in the iPhone 5s. Alright, so the next thing that is just amazing, basically the whole phone is amazing, but the next thing that Apple put into the iPhone 5s is the better back-facing camera, and let me tell you, it is definitely above par with all of the other competitors out there with the iPhone. So the iPhone 5s back-facing camera is going to have a better sensor, better software, and that software is going to basically do everything for you. You're not going to need to do anything, and you'll be able to take very crisp and clear photos. It is going to do your autofocus, auto white balance, auto exposure. You're going to be able to take multiple pictures and fuse them into one picture, just like I think it's the Galaxy S4 does, to create the best picture possible for the iPhone and for the user that they want. So this is really nice. Also, they're allowing for a burst mode, which is 10 frames per second. Just click. If you're trying to take a picture of an action sport or something like that. So this is really nice. And they're also going to have 2 LED flashes, one cool and one warm. So what that does is it's one white and one like auburny color or autumn color flash that'll flash at the same time to produce a much better picture when you need the flash. Instead of it being very bright, it'll produce a very neutral toned image, so it'll be very good. Alright, and as for the video capability, you're going to still see the 1080p 30 frames per second video on the back-facing camera, but now they added a 720p 120 frames per second slow-mo availability option on the back-facing camera, and let me tell you, this is going to be awesome. We are going to see so many more and better YouTube video from iPhones that are just gonna be awesome, like the fail clips or whatever. We will just be able to slow them down tremendously because this 120 frames per second is definitely going to help out a lot. Alright, and the big change and amazing feature that is in the iPhone 5s is the fingerprint scanner. And let me tell you, Apple definitely designed this very well. It is in the home button like everybody speculated, and the cool thing about it is that you can use it 360 degrees. So if you have your iPhone and it's turned upside down, it'll still read your fingerprint. Or if it's turned sideways, or right side up, it'll still read your fingerprint no matter where you put your finger. It will be able to read it, and that's really nice. Especially if you don't have it in the exact same position that you originally placed it, it'll definitely still read it. So that's definitely a nice feature that Apple added. Alright, so the home button is now actually made out of sapphire, so it will not scratch as easy as the old home buttons because they were made out of glass. Sapphire is such a better, more durable option that it definitely was in Apple's best interest to add that to the home button for the fingerprint scanner on it. Alright, so what is the fingerprint scanner going to be used for? I mean, honestly, it'll probably be used for, mainly it's going to be used for unlocking your iPhone, but also you're going to be allowed to use it for purchasing things in the iTunes store or the App Store and things like that. And the best thing that I like about the new fingerprint scanner on the iPhone 5s is the fact that you can use multiple fingers. So if you have an iOS device that your family shares or whatever, you can have different fingers. I don't know how many they said. Well, they didn't really say any, but I don't know how many will be actually available to use. But you can definitely use multiple. I'm thinking probably at least like 10 or so. And then just the fact that Apple does not store the fingers on the iCloud or their servers, the fingerprints that is, it makes me feel a little bit more comforting about the fingerprint scanner. That way no one can hack in and get my fingerprint. Alright, so the pricing with the iPhone 5s is just going to be like the normal pricing with everything else. They're offering a 16, a 32, and a 64 gig model. The 16 starting at $199.99 and just keep on rising from there. And for the 5S, we are going to be able to get it on September 20th. And the 5C will ship on September 20th, but you can pre-order it on September 13th, which is tomorrow, Friday. So I would definitely be questioning, why this is. Maybe they're not making as many iPhone 5S's because of the 5C. They're, expecting the 5C to bring in more inventory and more sales. So maybe the 5C will take over the sales for this iPhone release, but we will have to see on September 20th. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Make sure you like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. I always keep up to date with my social media, so it's definitely something that I always keep up to date with. And that's basically everything that happened at the Apple event for the announcement of the iPhone 5C and 5S. So I will catch you guys next week with a review of a case that I just got. Peace.